Hey, this is Moa Smokes, and today we're going to be talking about the V line from Element. So you may be asking yourself, what is the V line? The V line is a new line from Element, which is the maker of Element Air, Element Earth, Element Water. Earth and water are dark leaf, air is blonde, fire is dark, but the United States doesn't have that yet. They're holding out on the fire for us. We get V line. It's technically the 5th line that they've introduced, fourth to the United States. And I posted on my Instagram story like 4 or 5 days ago when I first got them to test and sample and all that good stuff. Now I started opening the containers. I opened them one by one. People were asking me, is it blonde? Is it dark? And my initial reaction was, oh, it's dark, because it looked like dark leaf shisha. And then as I was opening more and more flavors, the colors were getting lighter and lighter. And I was like, wait a minute. So I grabbed a handful, not a handful, I grabbed a pinch, I'm gonna be honest. I grabbed a pinch and I soaked it in water. I let all of the flavoring and molasses wash off. And lo and behold, it's actually a mix of dark and blonde leaf. So it's pretty interesting to see that. And then as I was sampling the flavors, some of the notes were really familiar to me. I'm like, oh, I tasted this in air, or oh, I tasted this in water or earth, and I remember this flavor. And then I went back to the flavor and I'm like, yeah, this is it. So the best way I can describe V-Line is, I think they mixed flavors from their existing lineup, and they basically made custom curated mixes. Is custom the right word there? I don't know. Curated mixes is what I'll say. And they're all really interesting in their own way. So what I wanted to do today was kind of take you through each of the flavors, tell you what they tasted like, to me at least, and then kind of go from there. The official release date on this is June 10th, 2022. So if you're watching this on June 10th, it's today. If you're watching this after June 10th, hey, it's already available. And I'll make sure that I add links to the description for where you can get it. Now, what I have in front of me is 10 containers for the 10 flavors that we got for the United States. This is just the initial release. There's actually 15 flavors available at the moment. Total in the world, we don't have all 15, we only have 10. I think they're gonna do what they did with air, where they slowly introduce flavors. Like there's a first wave, then there's a second wave, and I know they're still working on other things, so we'll see where it goes. Anyways, without further ado, we're actually gonna start from my right, your left, from here down, and work our way down alphabetically. As you can see, this is what the containers look like. It's pretty cool. The containers are the same shape as what you've seen for air, as what you've seen for water, as what you've seen for earth. These are black and they have like orange, red, blue, yellow, or gold colors on them. And you'll actually see the picture, and right here, I'll show you a picture of it. So it looks like this close up. It's mixing in all of the different elements. So I thought that was a nice little nod. So I'll actually start with Berry Breeze. Berry Breeze is actually raspberries with currant and grapefruit and a little bit of cooling. Berry Breeze is in my top 3. I liked it a lot. It was very pleasant. I thought the flavors were balanced really well, and I was pleasantly surprised with how much I like the raspberry in this mix. I am gonna add more cooling to it though, just as a disclaimer. The next flavor is Fruit Flood. So the description for Fruit Flood was super interesting to me because it was like, oh, it's pineapple with dates and pears and a basil aftertaste. And I'm like, a basil aftertaste. And I remember trying Element Water Basil, and I was like, wow, this tastes like home. Because, I'm Arab, obviously, and we eat a lot of basil, and we use it in our food, and like we'll eat it with cheese, and like for breakfast, and like that's the go-to. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool, there's basil in this. And when they say basil aftertaste, they literally mean basil aftertaste. So you taste it on the exhale, which I thought was pretty cool. It balances really well with the pineapple. It balances really well with the dates and the pears. The dates aren't overpowering, they're just there for the sweetness. And the pear really, like I said, makes the mix come together. So kudos to whoever made this mix. Quick little smoke break. All right, the next flavor is Jungle Juice. I know, it's a pretty cool name, Jungle Juice. Some of you may remember Jungle Juice as something else. This is not that. Jungle Juice in this case is actually pineapple with mango and red grape. Now, to me by itself, this was a little heavy, so I will be adding mint at least when I mix this with something else. Maybe mint, maybe like Moreau's, maybe something just to cool it down a little bit because it is a heavier flavor by itself. You definitely get the pineapple, you definitely get the mango, and if you're a fan of grape, you're gonna love this flavor. Next up, we have Passion Valley. Now, something told me that Passion Valley would be really popular with people, and I actually let a couple of people I know try this, and they were like, yeah, this tastes like, you know, those passion fruit flavors we like, but it's different and it's interesting. And the reason that Passion Valley is different and is interesting is because there's cucumber in there, there's grape in there, there's lemon, and then there's a little bit of cooling. By itself, pretty solid. I do want to mix this flavor. I do want to bring it a little bit more to the cooler side because those flavors by themselves tend to be a little heavier. But if you're a fan of those fruit flavors, you're going to be a fan of this. And I love cucumber, so I'm going to do everything in my power to make the cucumber stronger in this. Next up is Rainmonade. And actually, let me pause real quick because Rainmonade is what I'm smoking right now. Rainmonade is described as a Baikal lemonade with elderberry and a little bit of cooling. This was the first flavor that I tried, period. Like, this is the first one that I opened and I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And throughout the testing, throughout sampling all these other flavors, Rainmonade is still my favorite. And this is also the first flavor that I was like, wait, I taste other element flavors. So I tasted the Baikal from the airline. I tasted the lychee or the lychee from the airline as well. And then I was like, what else is in here? So you also taste morose from the waterline. And then you also taste lemon from the waterline. So I was like, oh, this is what they mix, because there's like elderberry in there. There's like elderflower. You get that nice lychee or lychee flavor. It comes through really nicely. And then you get the lemon, you get the lemonade. You get a little bit of the Baikal. It's not overpowering, but Baikal is one of those flavors that I liked anyway. So like I said, I love this flavor. This was my favorite. Next up is Raspberry Desert. And I thought this was a typo when I saw it. I was like, did they mean dessert? Do they mean raspberry dessert? Nope, they mean desert. It's Raspberry Desert. And this is described as a raspberry biscuit flavor with like earthy tones. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the earthy tones kind of threw me off. I was like, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean? What do you mean earthy tones? Is it gonna taste like dirt? Is it gonna taste like sand? It tastes like a raspberry cookie. Like one of those like European raspberry cookies. And I was a big fan of this. There is like an earthy element to it, no pun intended, but I think that comes from the dark leaf, and I think that comes from, I'm pretty sure I know what the flavor is. I don't want to say it on video though, because I don't want to be wrong in front of people watching this. Next up, we have Tropic Monsoon. Tropic Monsoon was a setup for me, because there's two flavors that I just don't smoke, and I try not to smoke, and they're watermelon and peach. I've made exceptions in the past, but this is watermelon and peach with, what else is in here? Passion fruit and lemon. So it was a couple of flavors that I'm not really a fan of in general, but this is true to what the description is. So it really does taste like watermelon with peach and passion fruit and lemon. So if that sounds appealing to you, this might be the flavor for you. Next up, we have Wafflefall. And Wafflefall was the one that I was looking forward to the most because it sounded interesting to me. I'm like, what is this gonna taste like? And then when I was reading about it, it was like, oh, it's a Belgian waffle with banana, and then there's like grape in there, and then there's mint. To me, the waffle definitely came through. I like the waffle flavor a lot. I also like the banana flavor a lot. I was a big fan of that. The syrup flavor came through. It was subtle. It added the sweetness. But my main gripe with this is the grape. And I'm not gonna lie, I've already found a mix that I love this with. But by itself, just keep in mind that that grape is definitely in there. The next flavor is Yellowstorm. Yellowstorm is also one of my favorites. Yellowstorm is banana, raspberry, maybe a little bit of strawberry. It kind of tastes like a banana strawberry milkshake. But then there's this aftertaste, and I couldn't place the aftertaste. I'm like, what is this? And I read the description, and it was like, oh, there's an alcoholic aftertaste. Like, alcoholic aftertaste, what does that mean? It's vodka. Vodka is the aftertaste. So you get like that aftertaste of vodka. So it's interesting. I've mixed this flavor as well. I actually mixed this flavor with mint and some morose to try to get rid of that alcoholic aftertaste because I really like the banana strawberry milkshake taste, and it was great. I was a huge fan of that. So, you know, if that sounds appealing to you, Yellowstorm might be for you. The last one is Yummy Tsunami, which is probably the coolest name. Yummy Tsunami was pineapple papaya cream, and then there was like a pine aftertaste, and pine, like actual like pine trees, like pine cone, pine. And I think this is Element's fir flavor, like F-I-R. I think that's what that aftertaste is. I thought it was cool how they mixed flavors that they already had to make mixes for people that they don't really have to think about. But me being who I am and a lot of you being who you are, you're probably still gonna wanna mix them with stuff. And I think this sets you up for making really easy mixes with just 2 flavors. Cause a lot of these flavors to me, they just need morose or they just need mint and you're set. Cause the heavier flavors just need to be a little bit cooler and a little bit lighter, and that's easily achievable. And then the lighter flavors, I'm like, oh, I can add this to make it taste like this, or oh, I can add this to make it taste like this. So I'm really excited about that. Now, in terms of the packing method, like I said, I've only had this for a few days now, so I've only had time to play around with it so much. But I will say that I've tried a dense pack, I've tried a semi-dense pack, I've tried a heavy normal pack, and I finally settled on a normal pack. Like, to me, that's what brought out the flavor the most. And it made sense because the way that I pack water and the way that I pack earth is normal. And then the way that I pack air is a heavy normal. So I'm like, oh, okay, normal is probably the happy medium between those anyways. Like, if I would have mixed those flavors individually, I would have probably done a normal pack. Like I said, I'll make sure I add links in the description. Now, with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what flavor you're looking forward to the most. If you've already gotten it, tell me what flavor you got. Tell me what you thought of it. Tell me what you tasted. Tell me if you liked it or not. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Moa Smokes. And I'm just gonna take a few puffs of the shisha. I'll see you guys next time.